very invariant E8 Jacobi forms. First, I recall the definition of very invariant E8 Jacobi forms. Let phi be a holomorphic function if phi satisfies the properties. First, phi is invariant under the axiom of the group, the Weyl group. Second, phi is quasi-periodic with respect to z. Third, phi is modular with respect to tau. And phi admits a Fourier expansion of this form. Then phi is called a very invariant E8 weak Jacobi form over K.
Maybe I make a short remark for our young member. Then the second, this is the property to be elliptic. So this elliptic function in A variable, and then the third property, modular form with respect to tau. But two, it's really elliptic function. It's elliptic function and it's correct.
Here the index t appears here, and the little k appears here. If phi further satisfies the condition, it means that the hyperbolic norm of Fourier coefficients are non-negative. Then phi is called a very invariant holomorphic Jacobi form. If phi further satisfies the stronger condition, it means that the hyperbolic norm of Fourier coefficients are positive. Then phi is called a very invariant Jacobi cusp form. We denote by the three notations the vector space of very invariant weak Jacobi forms, holomorphic Jacobi forms, and Jacobi cusp forms of weight k and index t.
And all these vector space are of finite dimension.
Yes.
When you say x belongs to E8, what do you mean in the previous slide? Just can you return to the previous slide?
The
previous slide.
The previous slide. The previous page.
Okay.
No, previous. Yes, you're right. Xy belongs to E8. What do you mean? You mean that these vectors are what are they? Just
invariant with respect to the Weyl group.
No, invariant. No, x and y belong to E8. E8 in this case. What does?
The latest. The root latest.
So the
coordinate. In other words, the root latest. E8 is the root latest. Okay. A positive, definite, even quadratic form of determinate one.
Unimodularities. Now I recall the main theorem proved in the last talk. First, the space of well-invariant E8 Jacobi forms a bidirectional ring directed by the weight and the index. The space of well-invariant E8 with Jacobi forms of fixed index is a free modular of rank IT over a ring of SL to the modular forms. The rank IT can be calculated by this generating series. Currently, we have the bidirectional algebra of all well-invariant weak Jacobi forms is contained in the polynomial algebra. Here, the 5 functions AI are holomorphic well-invariant E8 Jacobi forms of weight 4 and index I. The 4 functions Bj are holomorphic well-invariant E8 Jacobi forms of weight 6 and index J. You can see that here these numbers indicates the index of generators. The second part means that each well-invariant E8 Jacobi form can be expressed uniquely as a polynomial in these 9 algebraically independent holomorphic Jacobi forms with coefficients which are meromorphic SL to the modular forms. Here, meromorphic means that these modular forms are quotient of SL, holomorphic SL to the modular forms. This table shows the first values of rank IT. Next, I review some facts in the proof of the theorem will be used in this talk. First, for any M in E8, we can define the well orbit of M in this way. That means we take the origin of the exponential terms and the axis of the well group. Let Wi be the fundamental weights of E8. Then the 8 fundamental well orbits.
I'm sorry, but here I think we have this quotient, yes? This is the orbit modulo, or I don't understand this notation. What do you mean?
It means this group is the stabilizer subgroup of.
I see. Then it's correct. Yes.
The 8 fundamental well orbits are algebraically independent over C. Then there is a classical fact that every very invariant well group orbit in E8 means the set lambda plus in exactly one point.
This is which we usually call the Weyl sum.
Yes, it's the closure of the Weyl sum. Then let phi t be a very invariant E8 with Jacobi form of index t. Then its Q0 term can be written as a linear combination of well orbits in a set lambda plus. Satisfy this condition. Here, for every M, we write it as a linear combination of fundamental weights. Then, the Tm is defined in this way. Here, these coefficients are corresponding to the indices of generators, AI and Bj. The main theorem tells that the space of well-invariant E8 with Jacobi forms of fixed index is a free modular, and the rank is known. So in order to determine the structure of the spaces, we only need to determine the rates of the generators. First, it is well known that the space of well-invariant E8 with Jacobi forms of index 1 is generated by the theta function of the zone lattice E8 over the zone of SL to the modular forms.
So the minimal weight is 4.
Yes.
It's 4.
And they are all weak Jacobi forms are holomorphic Jacobi forms.
So we don't have a Jacobi form of weight 0, which we need for all generators. For example, in the book we have this T01, which is elliptic genus of an ubiquitous surface. For all other root system, we have the main generators of index 0 and of weight 0 and index 1. This is really the basic function. But here, due to the fact that this is E8 is unimodular, then we don't have weak Jacobi form of index 1. All Jacobi form of index 1 are holomorphic. So it's no difference between weak and holomorphic in this case. But it's very easy. It's strange that we don't have this result in the papers, but it's in my course of Jacobi form we have this. It's more or less evident result. And this is the main abstraction why this graded ring is not purely polynomial, and it means that it should have a lot of corollaries for the theory of singularities of E8 types. Meaning if we construct this Frobenius structure for E8, which should be related to many special functions, then E8 is very rigid. We don't have a universal function in this case. So we can expect, I think, a lot of effects related to this. So it's very exceptional. It's the natural abstraction. We don't have a weak Jacobi form of weight 0 and index 1.
Yeah, for the case of index 2, 3, and 4, I prove the theorem. First, the space of where invariant E8 weak Jacobi forms of index 2 is generated by 3 functions with weights -4, -2, and 0. And the space of weak Jacobi forms of index 3 is generated by 5 functions with weights -8, -6, -4, -2, and 0. The space of weak Jacobi forms of index 4 is generated by 10 basic Jacobi forms. Here there are 2 generators of weight -8. Later you will see the reason why there are 2 generators of weight -8. In this talk, I will explain the proof of the theorem.
But this is more or less clear. If we multiply it by delta function, we get a holomorphic form, yes or not? If C minus 8, 4, let's multiply it by Ramanujan delta function.
Yes.
We get holomorphic.
Yes.
Holomorphic Jacobi form without Q0 term.
Yes. For the case of holomorphic Jacobi forms, I prove that the space of holomorphic Jacobi forms of index 2 is generated by 3 Jacobi forms of weights 4, 6, and 8. The space of holomorphic Jacobi forms of index 3 is generated by 5 holomorphic Jacobi forms of weights 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. The space of holomorphic Jacobi forms of weight of index 4 is generated by 2 Jacobi forms of weight 4, 2 Jacobi forms of weight 6, 3 Jacobi forms of weight 8, 2 Jacobi forms of weight 10, and 1 Jacobi form of weight 12. For the case of Jacobi cusp forms, for index equal to 2, 4, and 3, the number of generators of indicate weight are shown in this table. For example, the space of Jacobi cusp forms of index 3 is generated by 1 cusp form of weight 10, 2 cusp forms of weight 12, 1 cusp form of weight 14, and 1 cusp form of weight 16. Now I introduce the proof. We consider again the Q0 term of weak Jacobi forms. First, the this is a very useful standard fact. If phi is a weak Jacobi form of index t, then the coefficients f and l depend only on the class of L in E8 modulo T E8 and on the value of 2nt minus the norm of L. Besides, we have this releasing, and by direct calculations, I can show these estimations.
It's very close, it says some linear programming or simplex methods, because we analyze exactly the point modulo 2, modulo 3, modulo 4, modulo 5, modulo 6, and we're looking for this minimax.
Yes.
So I'm sure that this part also might be interesting for people who are doing this convex analysis, because it's very nice domain, and maybe it will be necessary to think of some possible application of it, because this particular numbers could be quite important.
And when you consider a Jacobi form for a given lattice or Gaussian product for given orthogonal group, this type of estimations will be useful and necessary. Now we consider the orders of vectors and the Weyl group. Let I2n denote the set of all vectors of norm 2n. The Weyl group acts on the set I2n in the usual way. The orders of I2n and the x of the Weyl group are given by this here.
But this part, certainly we can treat as the theory of positive definite quadratic form, because Weyl group it's like full orthogonal group. Yes, it's very, very close. So then what we have, for example, let's take an element of square 12. Yes, it means that we take a vector, let's take the orthogonal complement, we have a positive definite quadratic form of rank 7 and determinant 12, and this result shows that we have only one class in the correspondent genus, in principle. Or let me say, we take 20. We see we have two classes in the correspondent genus. So we consider the genus of quadratic form of rank 7 and determinant, it's even quadratic form of rank 7 and determinant 20. And this calculation shows that this genus has only two classes.
This type of releasings is not easy to calculate in the general case, but it's very easy in the case of root systems.
That's right, yes, that's right.
Yes.
Because for root system we have a lot of symmetries, but nevertheless this is a question about the number of genus of quadratic form. We have a general algorithm, but we don't have any formula, any general formula. But here it's okay because we have root system, it's easy to find, let's say, orbits. It's easy to describe orbits, yes.
Yeah. Next, I can provide how to
maybe
find
maybe this table is better.
Because then the order of the Weyl sum the set of natural numbers Wi is the fundamental weight. For any M1, M2 in this set, if they are different, then the two orders are not the same. So in order to find the orbits of a set of vectors of given norm. We only need to find the vectors of norm 2n in the set lambda plus. This is very easy to do because the set lambda plus is a positive integral linear combination of fundamental weights.
But this is exactly the simplest method. We have this Weyl chamber, and we are looking where orbit, when we have an orbit, where it intersect the Weyl chamber. I think the best book on all this stuff, this is exactly the Bourbaki book on teeth system. We have a lot of particular information, especially in the exercise, on all this stuff. This is the case when Bourbaki volume is the best possible reference. The second good book, this is this seminar, but I think we have this only in some, but now maybe we have a good edition. This is the seminar of Wingberg and Nishik on root system and the algebras. Also a lot of, let's say, particular question of this stuff. But this is Bourbaki on teeth system. Teeth system, I forgot the volume, but it's the algebra, but special chapter teeth system.
Okay. Corresponding to the wave orbits, we define these wave orbits. Here we just taken the normalizations of these wave orbits. Here the normalizations of these wave orbits are chosen such that this sum reduced to 240 if we take z equal to 0.
Because we have 240 roots.
Yes. I do this just for convenience of calculations. Okay. Now I describe the Q0 term of weak Jacobi forms. Let phi t be a weak Jacobi form of index t. Then its Q0 term can be written in this way. For a case of index 2, we have 3 generators. Here we have 2.
I can repeat that this is what we have due to the fact, because we have a weak Jacobi form, so the hyperbolic norm is greater or equal to some constant, which we can write down explicitly. And then we can really understand how many different types of. So if we work not with Weyl invariant weak Jacobi forms, then certainly we have too many different Fourier coefficients.
Yes.
But here we have only, let's say, maximal, so this for Q5 we should go till 22.
Yes.
But Q5, it's it's index 5, it's quite it's quite a lot of calculation.
Yes. For the case of index 6.
But 6 may be easier than 5. Yes.
For contractions of generators, the even index is easier than the case of odd index.
Yes, but because we have A-calculated for generators.
Yes.
So when we're working with 6, we have generator from index 2 and for index 3 as well. We can use them in some sense. But for Q5, we can use only 1 or index 1. But index 1, we don't have any with Jacobi form. This is why we have this abstraction, very strong abstraction. Because we don't have Jacobi form of weight 0 for index 1.
Yes. From this lemma, we can give a tester to check if weak Jacobi form is a holomorphic Jacobi form or cusp Jacobi form. For example, in the case of index 3, if phi is a weak Jacobi form of index 3, then phi is a holomorphic Jacobi form. If and only if it's a Q0 term, is a constant.
But then we have, I would like to explain a little bit for our colleagues, because we are looking first of all for Jacobi form, which defined completely by Q0 term. Yes, because we could have this trivial Q0 term starting only from some index. The first case t equal to 4. And from the point of view of, let's say, geometry, what does it mean? If we consider, for example, Riemann-Roch, using Riemann-Roch, we also can construct this type of function. And it means, for example, the following. It's if we compare with my old result on Jacobi form in one variable, then if we construct elliptic genus of any variety with trivial first Chern class, then it will be Jacobi form. And we have the first Jacobi form, but Q0 term is identically 0, only starting to index 6. It means if we consider, but not 7, it means that when we consider, let me say, any variety, complex variety of the complex dimension 5, then the corresponding elliptic genus is defined by Q0 term. But Q0 term is Hirsebruch by genus. So it means one very important function, which is invariant, it's function dependent only on the Cartesian class of our variety, is that we can define it using very simple invariant, Hirsebruch by genus. And this is also more or less the same if we work with many variables. Then for small t, for t equal to 2 and 3, we can define Jacobi form only by Q0 term. Then later, we should add some corrections. But though, from this point of view, all this stuff could be very interesting for some geometric condition functions. For example, Riemann-Roch is not far from it. So please continue.
Okay. Now I explain how to determine the holomorphic Jacobi forms of singular weight.
Singular weight, this is the minimal possible weight of holomorphic modular form. So singular weight for any lattice, this is like rank of the lattice over 2. It follows directly from the, let's say, theta type representation of Jacobi form. Any Jacobi form, this is vector valued modular form. And single weight corresponds to vector valued modular form of weight 0.
Yeah.
So it means that we have eigenvector of the Weyl representation.
Yes.
If Weyl representation has eigenvector for the full modular group, we have a modular form of single weight. So for E8, rank over 2 is 4, so we have weight 4 as single weight for any index. It doesn't matter.
First, let phi t be a holomorphic Jacobi form of weight 4 and index t. In view of the singular weight, it means that the hyperbolic norm of all Fourier coefficients are 0. So we can write the Fourier coefficients of phi t in this way. Then, by taking z equal to 0, the function phi t will be a holomorphic modular form of weight 4 with just the Eisenstein series. But in this case,
but the Eisenstein series, if we put z equal to 0, the Eisenstein series has constant say, constant Fourier coefficient. Here you start from Qn. So you would like to estimate n, or what n here? I don't understand here. Why we have q to the power n as a factor?
Okay, here I show that n is greater than or equal to 1.
But it means that you don't calculate, because how we can construct Jacobi form? We have Jacobi form for index 1.
Yeah.
Then we can apply Fick operator. Again, we could construct a holomorphic Jacobi form of weight 4, which starts with constant 1.
Yes.
So it means that always we have, and now you would like to construct new function.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Now I
for
understand, yes.
any index t, we can construct at least one holomorphic Jacobi form of weight 4 and index t using the hot type operator. Has a constant 1 plus weight 4 index t holomorphic Jacobi form. So here I'm going to determine the exact dimension. So here I suppose that n is greater than or equal to 1. In this case, the function phi t tau 0 should be 0. So there exists a vector. So if there
Maybe I make this remark, we have 0 because we don't have cast form of weight 4.
Yes.
With respect to S to Z group. Because we should get modular form of weight 4, but we have only one modular form, the Eisenstein series, it starts with 1, but we cancel in this case.
So if there exists at least one L such that Fnl is not equal to 0, then there must be at least two different Weyl orbits. It means that there exists L1, L2, such that.
And why we always have at least 2?
Because phi t tau 0 is just 0.
Ah, yes, that's right. Oh, yes.
So we need at least two Weyl orbits to.
Yes, we have to cancel.
Yes, to cancel. And the Weyl orbits should have the norm 2nt, and the vector Li should have the minimal norm in the discriminant group. For example, in the case of index 2, the Weyl orbits with the minimal norm are just sum 2 and sum 4. Here we need the Weyl orbits of norm 4. They are just 1. So that means the dimension of the space of index 2 is just 1.
This is very simple but good remark, because certainly we need at least 2, so we can cancel some orbits automatically, and then we have this restriction for the dimension. I see.
For the case of index 3, there are 4 Weyl orbits with minimum norm. Here we need the Weyl orbits of norm 8. There are only 1. So the dimension is also 1. case of.
But I don't understand what we have for index 6. It's 1 or 2?
2.
It's 2.
Yes, because for index 6, we need the very obvious with norm 2 times 6 times n 12 n. The very obvious of norm 12 just 1. The norm of the very obvious of the norm 24 have 2. The norm of 6 has just 1. And in this case, there will exist a Jacobi form 6 with leading Q2 term. In this case, we consider its pullback to the classical Jacobi form. We take a vector of norm 2 in E8. Then we take z equal to z times V2, where z is a complex number. Then the function phi 6 tau z V2 will be
yes, then we have Jacobi form in one variable, yes?
yes, weight 4 and index 6. It has leading term q power 2. So we can divide it by delta square. Then we can get a weak classical Jacobi form of weight minus 20 and index 6.
And it might be minus 2, 1, 6, minus 12 is the minimum possible way.
Yes. So it should be 0. But we can calculate it explicitly that the pullbacks of well obvious are not 0. It's hard to calculate the explicit values, but we can calculate the high power of zeta. Before going on, we should record the differential operators. Let phi tau z be a weak Jacobi form of weight k and index t. Then the function is a weak Jacobi form of weight k plus 2 and index t. Here, f phi is defined by the hit operator. E2 is a beta time series of weight 2. F phi. The operator h acts on the function phi in this way. You can see that the hyperbolic norm of Fourier coefficients are stable under the action of this type of differential operators.
In particular, if we consider Jacobi form of single weight, of weight 4 holomorphic, then we see that h phi acts trivially. So it means that we go to 0.
Yes.
Because we multiply all Fourier coefficient by the norm, and the norm is equal to 0. So then it's Jacobi form of single weight is the kernel of this differential derivative.
Now I show how to determine the minimal weight of weak Jacobi forms by the differential operators. I consider the case of index 3. First, if there exists a weak Jacobi, first I claim that the minimal weight of weak Jacobi forms of index 3 is -8. If there exists a weak Jacobi form phi of weight smaller than -8, then we can construct a weak Jacobi form of weight -10 and index 3. In fact, the function can be constructed as the product with intercept series or the just differential operator of phi. So we can assume that there exists a weak Jacobi form phi of weight -10 and index 3. And we write its Q0 term in this way. Then by means the differential operators, we can construct the weak Jacobi form of weight -8, -6, -4, and -2. The last function has weight -2. Write its Q0 term. Phi -8, 3 is the differential operator of this function. Because the hyperbolic norm of their coefficients are stable under the differential operators, so its Q0 term has the same form. And it's easy to calculate these coefficients.
I would like to make one remark. So for weight -2, for some root system, maybe here as well, the corresponding Jacobi form of weight -2 and some index are usually in many cases related to Gromov-Witten invariant of some varieties. So because index 0, it's more close to, let me say, some object with generalized elliptic genus. But weight -2, in many cases, is related to some polylogarithm function and Gromov-Witten invariant. What is interesting with DIMA now, we're finishing this project, that when we're working not with E8, but our D8 is the old result from the last year. For example, if we're working with D8, which is certainly much smaller, since the value group is much smaller, then it's possible to construct all generators. Now we have construction for any n, and it's funny that now we can go back, not from -4, -6, -4 to 0, it's clear. Differential operator change the index, but add +2 to the weight with the same index. But now we're starting from index 0, we can pass to -4 and then -2. So in some sense we realize a process which we can call integration. And then it will be funny, if it works, especially for D for D8 we have, but maybe for D16, if we have interpretation in terms of Gromov-Witten invariant, then we can, let's say, make some correspondence between different string models. Where 0 corresponds to something which we call elliptic general, or generalized elliptic general, and we have one invariant, but we then can make some integration and we pass the Gromov-Witten invariant. So it's some funny process, it's not finished, but in any case, all this function of, let's say, small weight, -2, it's really should related to Gromov-Witten invariant of some models.
Okay. Similarly, we can have 5, 6, 5, -4, 5, -2. Because these functions have negative weight, so if we take z equal to 0, then this function would be 0. So for the first function, we will get C0 plus C1 plus C2, C3 and C4 equal to 0. Because we take the normalizations of this where orbits such that its reduction is 240. For the other functions, we have the same relations. C0 times a constant is the coefficient. Then we can get a system of linear equations, a system of 5 linear equations with 5 unknowns. Then by solving this system, we find that these parameters C are all 0. Then we get a contradiction. Because we assume that the weight Jacobi form of weight -10 has no 0 Q0 term. Because if it has 0 Q0 term, we can divide it by delta. Then we get a weight Jacobi form with smaller weight. So this argument means that the possible minimal weight is -8. Then I show how to prove that this weight Jacobi form of weight -8 is unique. First, if phi is a weight Jacobi form of weight -8 with this type Q0 term, then we can construct weight Jacobi forms of weight -6, -4, -2, and similarly, by taking z equal to 0, this function would be 0. From this, we can build a system of 4 linear equations with 5 unknowns. This system has in fact only one no-trivial solution. So the weight Jacobi form of weight -8 and index 3 is unique if it exists. Here, this method has another advantage because in some sense, in some case, although we can construct this weight Jacobi form, but it's hard to calculate its Q0 term. But you can see this way can give the Q0, can give the coefficients of Q0 term. Next, I show how to construct this unique weight Jacobi form of weight minus 8. I have two constructions, but the first construction is based on the explicit calculations, so I would like to explain the second construction. First, we call the extended coordinate diagram of E8. Then we omit this root. Then we find that the A2 plus E8 is the submatrix of E8. Similarly, consider the diagram of E6.
So-called affine extension of
Yes.
our diagram.
Yeah.
So we consider, what does mean affine? We consider the diagram and we add the highest root.
Yes.
And then we have something which is very close to affine diagram. So it means that we have a root with this property, but then if we add TA, this high root, we have, let's say, a diagram of affine algebra. But nevertheless, this extended Lie diagram, using this, we can find a lot of decomposition in any root system. So for Dn as well, so it means really we have this root, then we can cancel one root and we have two orthogonal parts. Yes.
For E8, we kill this root.
We have three copies of A2.
Yes, then 3 copies of A2 is a submatrix of E6. Then we get 4 copies of A2 is a submatrix of E8. Then we consider the dual. Then we discover them by 3.
But this is again A2.
Yes. That means this lattice is a sublattice of 4 copies of A2. So, any Jacobi form of index 1 for this 4 lattice 4 copies of A2 is also a Jacobi form of index 3 for E8. But in general, the Jacobi form is not invariant under the Weyl group. So we need to take the symmetry of this Jacobi form. But sometimes this new function will be 0.
4 copies A2, not A1.
Oh, yeah.
Because for A1 we need 8 copies and index 4, something like
Yes.
this.
So in order to avoid this trouble, we consider the Jacobi forms for copies of A2 invariant and the orthogonal group. Then there are less obvious in the Q0 terms.
But what for copies of A2, this is while group of A2, which is clear what is it, and then we have commutation of all copies, yes?
Yes. First, there is a weak Jacobi form of weight -2 and index 1, invariant and the well group, orthogonal group of A2 is a weak Jacobi form of -2, index 1 for A2. Then we consider the tensor product of 4 responses. It gives a weak Jacobi form of weight -8. The index 1. Then its image and this map will give a weak Jacobi form of weight -8 and index 3 for E8. Later I will show that this map is in fact isomorphism. Now I continue to determine the generators of weight -6.
But then you can apply simplest differential operator.
Yes, first we consider the differential operator of the weak Jacobi form of weight -8. And we can get a weak Jacobi form of weight -6. Next, I show that this function is the unique weak Jacobi form of weight -6. On the contrary, if there exists another weak Jacobi form of weight -6, we assume that it has this type of Q0 term. We cancel the term. We cancel the well orbit of norm 8. Once again, we construct the weak Jacobi forms of weight -4, -2, and 0. Here, for each Jacobi form of negative weight, if we take 0, then its Q0 term will be 0. Then we can get a linear equation. Because there are 3 weak Jacobi forms of negative weight, so we get 3 linear equations. For the weak Jacobi form of with 0, their Q0 terms satisfy a linear equation.
But this is true for any
Yes.
weak Jacobi form of weight 0, so it's a general identity. It means that it's better to formulate this like the following: that if we have a weak Jacobi form of weight 0, then Fourier coefficients, when we consider them as vectors, they form so-called design in the space. So we have so-called 2 design.
So for the Jacobi form of weight 0, by this identity, we can get a modified linear equation. Then we have got a system of linear equations of 4 by 4. Then, by the calculations, we find that this system has only trivial solution. So we proved that there are only one weak Jacobi form of weight -6 and index 3. Then our main theorem shows that the space of weak Jacobi forms of index 3 is the free modular over the zone of SL to Z modular forms generated by 5 weak Jacobi forms. Now we have the weak Jacobi forms of weight -8, -6, and -4 must be generators, because the Jacobi forms of weight -8 and -6 are unique. So 5 -4, 3 is also a generator. Besides, the weak Jacobi form of weight -2 is independent of the 2 weak Jacobi forms. This can be proved by comparing their Q0 terms. This means that the weak Jacobi form of weight -2 must be also a generator. Finally, the weak Jacobi form of weight 0 is also a generator, because for the weak Jacobi forms of negative weight, by taking z equal to 0, these weak Jacobi forms will be 0. But for this Jacobi form of weight 0, we can find that its Q0 term is not 0. Then we have found all the 5 generators. Then we proved the desired result. Then I can show that this isomorphism, this map is an isomorphism. Certainly, these two lattices are not isomorphic, and their discrete in the group are also not isomorphic. But under the axiom of the orthogonal group, the discriminator group has 5 orbits. Also 4, also 3, also 2, also 1. The sum 2 over 3 is just the orbit of the orthogonal group of A2 acts on the vector but in the case of this
the orthogonal group of A2, this is the double extension of the value. Yes?
Yes.
Because A2 root system has symmetry. So we have phi group and the symmetry of the Dinkin diagram. So this is double extension.
Yeah, the orthogonal group of A2 is just the real group of A2 brought the simultaneous 6 minus 3. In the case of E8, there are also 5 orbits. this orbit corresponds to this orbit, this orbit corresponds to this orbit. So this map is injective. Besides that, there are weak Jacobi form of vector -2 for A2 and the vector 0 for A2. Then considering their tensor products, we can construct weak Jacobi forms of weight -8, -6, -4, -2, and 0 for 4 copies of A2. Then, by our structure result, we can show that this map is surjective. Then it's an isomorphism. For the case of index 2, we have a similar isomorphism. This map is induced by the embedding of lattices. The Newtonian lattice N8 is a sublattice of E8. Now consider the dual. Discovered by 2. D8. The similar argument works well in the case of index 4. It's because that in the case of index 4, the maximal norm of Weyl orbits in Q0 terms is 16. And we can show that the minimal weight of the generators is minus 16. Like in the case of index 3, the minimal weight of generators is minus 8. The maximal Weyl orbit is some 8. So in this case, we have enough linear equations to determine the dimension of the space of Jacobi forms of negative weight. But when the index is larger than 4, the absolute value of minimal weight will be less than the maximum norm of Weyl orbits appearing in Q0 terms. In this case, there are not enough linear equations to determine the exact dimensions. In order to overcome this trouble, we use a new approach based on the pullbacks from E8 Jacobi forms to classical Jacobi forms. Here, let phi be a weak Jacobi form of index T, and wave 4 is a vector of norm 4 in E8. Then this function is a weak Jacobi form of weight K and index 2T. In order to calculate the Fourier coefficients of this Jacobi form, we consider the pullbacks of Weyl orbits. Let's summary be a Weyl orbit associated to Weyl. This Weyl orbit is defined in this way. Then, because the Weyl group acts transitively on the set of vectors of normal form, so the pullback of Weyl orbit associated to Weyl can be written in this way. Here, the summer takes over the vectors in the vectors of normal form.
So we don't have enough. Linear equation are not enough. So we're expecting that there is a modular form with Q0 term equal to 0.
Yeah. Then we use this notation here. It means that this Weyl orbit, consider its pullback. Its pullback will be a sum of some powers of zeta. Zeta is just e2 z. Here, I only care about the maximal I coming from this Weyl orbit. We can calculate them in this way. Next, I consider the case of index 5. Because that for index 5, the maximal Weyl orbit is sum 22. You see that for 22, the number is 9. Is larger than all other numbers. Now, assume that phi is a weak Jacobi form of with minus 2k and index 5 with no zero leading Q0 term sum 22. Then its pullback is a weak Jacobi form of weight minus 2k and index 10 with leading Q0 term zeta power of 9. Then the space of this space will be phi minus 2 1 power k times the space of weak Jacobi forms on index of with 0 and index 10 minus k. So we have 10 minus k is non-negative, but 1k equals 9 and 10. It's just 5 minus 2 1 power 10. 5 minus 2 1 equals zeta plus minus 2. So there's power 10. The weight 18. Also, zeta power of So 1k equals 9 and 10. We can get contradiction. So we get k is smaller than or equal to 8. Then the weight is less than or equal to minus 16. The second step assumes that phi has no Fourier coefficient. Sum 22 means Q0 term. In this case, the maximum where orbit should be sum 20. From this, we can get the data scale times this function will be a holomorphic Jacobi form. But we have proved that the space of Jacobi forms of singular weight 4 and index 5 is generated by the function A5 with constant Q0 term. So it means that this function its weight is less than or equal to 6. So we get minus 2k is greater than or equal to minus 18. By the two arguments, we can prove that the minimal weight is less than or equal to minus 18. First of all, by consider the similar arguments, we can prove this theorem. The weak Jacobi forms of weight smaller than or equal to minus 20 and index 5 is trivial. The dimension of the space of weak Jacobi forms of weight minus 18 and index 5 is at most 1. The space of weak Jacobi forms of weight minus 16 is at most 3. I don't know if the weak Jacobi form of weight minus 18 and index 5 exists or not. But if it exists, it must have Q0 term of this type. It means that there is no term sum 22. For case of weight minus 16, I can construct only one weak Jacobi form. I show you the constructions. Again, we consider the affine diagram of E8. We cube this root, then we will see 2 copies of A4 is a sublattice of E8. Then we have E8 discovered by 5 is a sublattice of 2 parts of K4U discovered by 5. For this lattice, I have determined the gradually of weak Jacobi forms index 1 invariant and the orthogonal group. Is generated by 6 basic Jacobi forms with -8 with -6, 2 generators of -4, -2, and 0. Then consider the tensor product of the generator of weight -8. It gives a weight Jacobi form of weight -16. For lattice 2 times A4 to 5. That is also a Jacobi form of weight -16 for lattice E8 of index 5. Then take the symmetricity of this function, you get the weight Jacobi form, invariant and the Weyl group. This Jacobi form will have the leading term 20 plus 1. To construct these generators, we need to consider the lifting from scalar variable modular forms to vector variable modular forms constructed by shell tower. In this case, from the space of scalar modular forms of weight 2 for the group gamma 0, 5, and with this character, this space has 2 independent generators. From these independent generators, we can construct 2 holomorphic vector variable modular forms of weight 2. Then you will the isomorphism between vector variable modular forms and Jacobi forms. We can construct 2 holomorphic Jacobi forms for lattice A4, Q5 of weight 4. Then we consider their combination to cancel the Q0 term, then divide it by delta. We can get the weight Jacobi form of weight -8. I feel that this weight Jacobi form of weight -18 should exist, but if such a Jacobi form exists, then there will be a very strange thing. You will see that the maximal Fourier coefficients doesn't appear in the generator of minimal weight. It seems that this would be the first example of such stranger Jacobi forms. For the case of index 6, we can use the single argument to show that the minimum weight of generators is larger than or equal to minus 26. And the dimension of the space of Jacobi forms of weight minus 26 is at most 1. The space of big Jacobi forms of weight minus 24 is at most 3. At present, I can construct 2 independent such Jacobi forms. In the end, I want to discuss 2 questions. First, we need to determine the generators of the space of weak Jacobi forms of index 5, 6, and so on. Certainly, we first need to find a new way to construct Jacobi forms of low weight. Second, we want to know whether the bi-graded ring is finitely generated over the ring of SL to the modular forms or not. This problem is far being solved at present. If this ring is finitely generated over M star, then there will have more than 20 generators, and there are plenty of algebraic relations among generators, and I almost sure that there must have generators of index 7. So the structure is very complicated. Okay, I stop here. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you. It's a really good talk when you use a lot of exceptional decomposition of E8. I mean, we know all of them. We in principle, many years ago in Yaroslavl, I constructed all sublattices of E8. I think, Dima, you told me that you have my notes from Yaroslavl, where I construct this tree, because I'm not sure that I keep them.
I actually don't remember.
No, but you notice that my lectures in Yaroslavl about root system. I wrote at the end all sublattices of E8, in some sense, all root sublattices. I mean, and so we can analyze. Maybe we can find some more from this approach. Okay, thank you. So I hope so. You're planning to finish. I mean, this part completely in general, yes, or because you can find the preference and archive on this stuff, but you will modify it, yes, because to have new result when you're planning to finish it completely, to send to a journal. So in January or
next year.
Next year, okay, then because it will be part of PhD, the second part of PhD, and then here certainly 7th.